Tikkun Olam. Part 1.
3,000. Not Andre. The death toll when I began to write this. Now, it's 53,000. And rising.
Assalamu alaikum. We break 'em. The curses. Generational cycles of hurt become subversive. Inertia. When searching for ahimsa, how can we prevent harm amongst immense violence when speaking out is constantly stomped into silence, hardship? How can we practice non-harming when instead of disarming we are bombing the starving?
Humans as shields, flesh wounds made from metal. What will you do when the dust fully settles?
Baruch atah Adonai. From a religion where God's names are too sacred to speak, you prey on the weak, then seek justice by oppressing the meek. Einstein, Mandela, Malcolm, Cabral, Gandhi, and Desmond Tutu are all examples of people who spoke out against the carnage in Gaza. It doesn't make sense. Our defense was our pens against senseless violence, yet this is simply too painful for words. So I meditate on the screams of shattered dreams and nothing seems right.
The eeriness of the Shoah.
The nightmares and fright, whispering, never again!
Never again!
Because Zionism is not Judaism, so for crying out loud, retreat and the bloodshed, cease fire now! What will you tell your children when children's blood is on your hands? BDS didn't work, so to hell with peaceful plans. The destruction is bad, but what is equally appalling are the kids in Jerusalem that been stalling, Palestinians purposely erased from their drawings, erased from their memories and onset dementia, a brainwashed letter to the editor, I betcha, didn't show the press who the snipers took out. Media outlets withhold without a doubt. Silencing journalists is what they do best. God forbid the truth leaks through their bulletproof vests, screaming, never again! Never again! Will anyone else escape before I write this? Countless lives lost, but we're still trying to fight this. 75 years late, 30 years before my birthday. Birthright I don't take lightly, so cancel the flight. The whole concept of Israel just isn't right. And my fight for justice comes from the plight of 6 million Jews rolling over in their mass graves. My determination, fueled by their faces. Traces of my ancestors burns in my DNA. So how can the US of A to this day support a state that has backed genocide? Not once, not twice, but who's counting? I'll tell you how. The same way they told that ship to turn around. A ship filled with Jews who escaped the grounds, drenched in skulls, concentrated in camps, while concurrently welcoming Nazis to camp out. Matter of fact, give them new lives, jobs, and a house. Meanwhile, Jim Crow was alive down south. And now? We welcome Afrikaners as refugees while denying entries to Congolese and Sudanese. The irony of not even trying to be discreet while they smile for the camera to sign agreements of peace for Congo and Rwanda?
Of course.
It's the minerals you seek. White supremacy is thriving under Trump and his thieves.
Even Neo cannot save us, asks Keanu Reeves.
Neo-colonialism is a new type of beast. New technology can try to mask this disease, but it leaks and it reeks of past techniques.
Did you know the word genocide was first used at the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide by the newly formed United Nations in 1948? Ironic how that same year Israel became a state.
By plowing into Palestine and building a gate. Wait, is it coincidence or merely a mistake that very same year, South Africa passed apartheid as law? Let's be clear. Israel had ties to South Africa. Appalled? How could you be? When you built a wall, at least their systemic oppression finally, quote-unquote, ended in 1994, yet Palestine is still in the grips of war. From an open-air prison. Not in our names, we said never again. Except in that same year when the Hutus killed their neighbors, the Tutsis in Rwanda, a conflict first created by the Germans, not Uganda, with arms supplied by countries, including Israel. Or that other time in Guatemala, when the Mayans resisted, started in the 60s, didn't end until 1996, the year I graduated high school, the same year Netanyahu became the prime minister. Sinister tactics have not diminished, sir.
The Guatemalan government used weapons and advice from Israeli military who created divisive incendiary tactics.
Monsters, mayhem, murder of the Mayans, 200,000 died from the violence. I thought we said never again! Never again! So where was the UN? Or the U.S., then, the self-proclaimed greatest country on the planet, god damn it! Unrealistic expectations from a nation, birthed on displacement, genocide, and enslavement, forced on reservations. Here is a statement from land-back natives still fighting for their rights to the sacred land. A culture that was banned. Baruch atah Adonai. From a religion where God's names are too sacred to speak, you prey on the weak, then seek justice by oppressing the meek. And when they dare to have the audacity to clap back, you demonize, dehumanize the ones you despise, when it's you who needs to take a look in the mirror and devise a different plan. There's a pattern here. Indigenous people everywhere, under attack. From the Amazon and Brazil to Palestine and back, the weight of your skin when it's tan, brown, or black, white supremacy really needs to take a step back. Step down, lose the crown, cause you're killing us all. Your fatal flaw is apparent, please stop the downfall of humanity. This is insanity, not in our name, we've had enough of your vanity.
The Holocaust referred to the final solution.
An answer to the Nazis' absurd Jewish question, code word for murder, a calculated ghetto. The evil that men do resides. Genocide wasn't even a word yet, but the goal was literally leave no Jews behind. But we survived, the defiant ones who escaped to hide.
From Kristallnacht to Nakba, a settler colonized
Supposed Holy Land, but what can be holy about stolen land? Just ask an Indian. Indigenous people who were forced to be Christian, seen as heathen savages, the ravages of war. Rationalize the score, easier when you other, easier to kill innocent children and mothers. The myth of the Middle East conflict of religion, that is the biggest lie within the region. Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived peacefully before, and I'm sure they can manage to do it once more, so stop the blockade, barbed wire, Iron Dome, with no way out, no place to call home, no aid, no water or food. I can't begin to walk in their shoes or what's left of them. The pictures of abuse are enough to break every heart, so imagine each day with a mark on your head. A child's limp body laying dead on your chest. Bombing hospitals, houses, and humans is inhumane, so what will it take to stop all this pain? Toni Morrison warned us back in 2006. That Israel's undeclared political aim, from a fanatic right wing with everything to gain, is the liquidation of the Philistine nation. Let that sink in. Your trickle-down economics is a sham and a sin. Almost 20 years later, we are witnessing more bombs dropped than in World War II. This is an abomination of a tiny little nation stripped down to the West Bank, and Gaza Strip is all they left with, stuck in Israel's grip. Encroached upon further by so-called settlers. Population 2 million Palestinians in Gaza, packed into 140 square miles of horror. Compare that to the smallest state we in, Rhode Island. 1,034 square miles of land, population 1 million, less than 50 miles long. But we rep in Palestine hoping they can stay strong until the IDF arrives with their guns and their tanks. Population 3 million, don't forget the West Bank. 2,180 square miles. Since October 7th, 2023, 1,000 Jews killed. It's a tragedy. If they are targeting Jews, it's a catastrophe. Hamas definitely mapped a strategy. And I'm Jewish, so I can't say that I agree, but we can't move the context of this atrophy. 1,000 lives doesn't add up mathematically to hundreds of thousands of tons of bombs that keep being dropped on this tiny little plot. Take it back to the doc Slingshot Hip Hop, a film that spoke out in 2008. Till this day, 2 million still cannot escape. 2 million, the number we incarcerate. Give a number to a name is how they separate. Never again? For whom?